The first time I made jollof rice, I really wished I could have gotten a recipe that says this is the recipe for 1 cup of rice or this is the recipe for 2 cups of rice. So I decided to make a video like that myself. This is going to be a beginner friendly recipe for 1 derica of rice that you can try at home if it's your first time making jollof rice. For this recipe, I'm going to be using 2 shombo, 1.5 red bell pepper, 3 pieces of tomatoes, 1 scotch bonnet so it's not too spicy, and 1 garlic. You want to blend all of these together and cook it until it dries. To start making my stew base, I'm going to chop up half a bulb of onion. I'm going to chop it up in tiny pieces just to start out my stew base, and I'll set aside the other half of the onion. In a pot, I'm going to add this much oil. You don't want the oil to be too much. I missed a step where I added the onion into the hot oil. Also added curry and tomato paste, 150 gram of tomato paste. Now I'm going to add my rosemary. I'm adding just a little bit of it because I don't want it to be overwhelming in the taste. I feel like a good thing to note when making jollof is that you are going to really fry every step of the way. You want to fry whenever you add something new, you want to stir and you want to fry it properly just so you are building the flavor in the right way. This recipe is just a very basic recipe, just the ground rule I feel like if you can follow, but as time goes on, you can decide to tweak things up and add other things to your jollof rice. You discover things that work for you and things that don't work for you. You want to watch the video properly and take note of the spices I'm adding because I will not be mentioning everything. I have now added my pepper mix to the base and I'm frying it now. Like I said, you want to fry your stew all the way. Next thing I'm going to add now is my bay leaf. I'm going to be adding just 3 pieces of bay leaf to this jollof rice. If you're starting out, you want to make sure that you're not adding too much bay leaf to the jollof rice because the taste and the smell of bay leaf can sometimes be overwhelming if you overdo it. If you're just starting out, trust me, you don't want to overdo it. Then I'm adding my smoked paprika. You can skip this out if you don't want it, but I feel like it just elevates the taste of the jollof rice. I'm going to be going light on seasonings because I've got a meat stock somewhere that I'm going to be adding to this base, so I don't want it to be too much. I'm going to be going light on the seasoning, but after adding the meat stock, I can then check and see and adjust the seasoning if necessary. I prefer to add my washed rice in to the base at this point. Some people prefer to add in water or stock to the stew base and let it boil before adding the rice. But this is what works for me. Like I said, on the long run, you will discover what method or what style works for you. So many persons use this method for fried rice just to make the rice last longer and not go bad. But I use it for my jollof rice as well. Because why not? This is the point where I add my meat stock and water if necessary. Another thing I feel like you should take note of when making jollof is that you want to introduce your liquid to your rice while they are hot. I feel like adding cold water into your rice while it is cooking just slows down the cooking process and lets the rice soak the water. But if you add hot water or hot meat stock or hot liquid into your rice, it just speeds up the cooking process. Another thing to take note of is the type of rice you're using. You should know the type of your rice you're using and you should know how much water that rice can take. The water I've added to this rice is because I know the rice I'm using and I know how much water the rice can take. But there are some type of rice that you would not have to use this much water to cook, else it becomes soggy, and you don't want soggy jollof rice. At this point, the rice is cooked but not totally cooked because it is not totally soft. You want to fluff up the rice just so the heat can penetrate in properly, and I'm going to be trapping in steam in the pot, covering the pot with foil paper. This step allows the rice to cook with the steam that is trapped in the pot. After a few minutes, you want to add in the onions that you set aside before. You also want to add in just a little bit of butter, not too much, You can add this butter, this cooking butter. I'm using unsalted butter, but if you're going to be using salted butter, you have to factor it in when you are adding salt to your rice while cooking it, because you don't want the taste of salt to be so overwhelming. At this point, I was already feeling the rice. Like I said, this is not a professional recipe. This is a beginner-friendly recipe. This recipe is good if you're just starting out your Nigerian jollof journey. In case you're wondering why I keep saying Nigerian jollof journey, Nigerian jollof, there are so many ways to cook it. There are so many ways to cook it. You'll be surprised. Different recipes, different methods. It is really a journey. But the very good thing is that once you get a hang of it, like once you get a hang of the process, once you understand what to do and how to do it, there's no going back. It only gets better. Now the jollof is ready, and this is just me giving you a closer view of what it looked like, and it was looking good. And trust me, this jollof tasted as good as it looks. For the side dish, I decided to do it the Naija way and decided to fry plantains to go with the jollof rice. I turned my back for a split second and I came back to burnt plantains, but they still tasted nice. So this is my meal: jollof rice, one full chicken, and plantains. If you're asking where's the one full chicken, what do you think one egg is? It's a full chicken. So that is it. This is the end product of my meal. Do let me know if you'll be trying this recipe.